Greetings, everyone. Dr. Erin here with my dear friend and co-creatrice partner, Lynette Ramos, who we have recently brought on board to bring more of her gifts to the world and to many, many, many people that I have worked with. And she has already worked with many, many people that I've worked with. And we really wanted to come together to discuss more about what we do and the offerings that we're wanting to bring to the world. So, thank you for joining in. And Lynette, today we wanted to talk about why. Why do we need the services that you and I have put so much of our hearts into and our intentions and, bringing our own historic paths and journeys, learnings into. And I think it makes sense for us to just talk a little bit about this like behemoth that has come to be known as healthcare. So, what would you say about healthcare and where your divine feminine wisdom and experience like plugs into that?
I think it's looking at the system that we currently have and looking at our areas of opportunity, looking at what we've done well. And I think that our goal is to fill in the gaps. And that means to address each being in their entirety: consciousness, emotional health, physical, spiritual health. So it's how can we look at a person or observe them, help them to identify maybe that where there are some disruptions in their own development, what has happened in their life on these different levels that have maybe contributed to them becoming outside of good health, and helping them to put the pieces back together and to come back to themselves. So currently, I think we look at things very separately.
Yeah.
And so the goal is how can we harmonize and how can we address people in their whole system?
So I just want to address the significance for me personally to have not only you in my life, but bringing you in to the fold of options as a partner, as a co-facilitator, because my own journey started off so much with this fascination with the occult and the shamanic and the like Native American indigenous mindset. I was very fascinated by all that. But then as I got into natural medicine at a very young age, I felt very much that I had to sort of like prove myself and do this very official track. And even though I shied away from the truly conventionally traditional track and take a truly traditional track of holistic naturopathic medical school, that at this point in my career, I've come fully back to the beginning of that circle and recognizing that while people think, well, I have this medical problem, I can't go and, do all this airy fairy woo woo stuff that doesn't really make any difference, that I've come to find that that is really where the true healing happens. And there's so many wonderful tools that my training has given me, but it really is coming back to that original meaning of the word healing, which means whole, to become whole. That is where the differences occur. So just kind of putting all that together for us, how would you answer the question around what is needed, or, what are the offerings that we collectively bring together? Like, how do you see it that, your work specifically complements the work that I've been doing with patients, or the work that, the other practitioners here at Options do?
I think it actually reflects the foundation of hypnosis, and that the more logical mind, it will literally block you from pursuing something that's beneficial to you if it doesn't align with your own belief system. So the mind is powerful, but if it's used in the way of healing, it has limited capacity. And that's part of this is about educating us on where the mind plays a beneficial role, and where does our mind keep us from healing.
So we're coming at folks with a whole list of things to do and practices and things we want people to implement
Yeah.
into their daily habits.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're coming in and facilitating, well, how do I get over my limiting beliefs? How do I get over my constraints from both a like psychological, mental, is that how you would put it?
Yeah, it's like being able to look at someone or to look at oneself and self-evaluate.
Mm-hmm.
And many times we kind of know where there's a disruption, but it can be too painful or it feels like it's too daunting. So sometimes it's we're afraid to look, and sometimes it's we don't know where to look. Some people will say that they didn't have any disruption in their development, or no, they didn't have any trauma, or
Mm-hmm.
because we don't know sometimes the language, or we don't know how it affected us.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes it's really an exploration. It's coming back to ourselves, and it really is also an experiment. It's looking at what works for us, what doesn't. So that's our job as practitioners, is to help people to identify their own unique path and to be with people at different stages, because we can't predict
Yeah.
every turn,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
we can walk with people and we can continue to make good choices based on what is coming up for each
Yeah.
person.
Yeah. So that makes me think about how well just what you just said fits into this much bigger vision that I have of helping people at the most foundational level expand their awareness.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm hoping to continue to co-create an organization of members, of partner members, patient members,
Mm-hmm.
practitioners, organizations that are really interested in co-creating how do we help people expand their awareness. And that's ultimately what you just said, right?
Yeah,
Like,
and helping people feel empowered in places that can feel overwhelming or scary, because ultimately each person has their own key to unlock their own wellness. And so sometimes we have to be a mirror, and sometimes that's when you could use someone to walk with you in that path so they can mirror back to you and maybe see some blind spots and that
yeah,
kind of thing.
awesome. I think that's a great little start for
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
And we'll do some more talking for another time.
Cool.